Good day everyone. My name is Mark Zedko and I'm going to discuss about TPAC model and the evolution of this particular educational framework. Let's start. What is TPAC model? TPAC stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. It is also considered to be as the heart of innovative teaching. Why? It is a framework wherein other domains, such as pedagogy and content, intersect with an additional component, the technology. It is used to effectively teach students or engage students with the use of technology for better student learning. This model were developed by educational researchers Mishra and Kohler in the year 2006. The TPAC model or the TPAC diagram shown in the PowerPoint presentation is a useful model for educators to begin the use of digital tools and strategies to support teaching and learning. TPAC is a combination of three educational domains, particularly three intersecting educational domains. First is the content knowledge, second is the pedagogical knowledge, and the third one, the newly added component, the technology domain. First is the content knowledge. Content knowledge is what teachers know. It means that it is your understanding and expertise of the subject area you teach, made up of all consolidated facts, concepts, and theories of a given discipline. While PK stands for how they teach. PK includes methods of teaching, assessment like project-based learning, and instructional strategies. It helps you design a successful learning experience. While the newly added TK or technological knowledge, it represents your knowledge to the tools or to the devices. It includes how to select, use, and integrate technology in the curriculum. But it is not just about the devices, it is also about the quality of content that your students access, especially to the use of apps, integrating lessons to the websites or different technological games for learning. Our second topic is the evolution of the TPAC model. First combination is the PCK or the pedagogical content knowledge. In this particular overlap, it reminds us that our lesson must be based on how students can best learn our specific course material. It also provides certain approaches for allowing different learning styles and scaffolding content for better understanding. Second one, we have the technological content knowledge or the TCK. This particular overlap uh, refers to how the technology influence the content that we provided for our students. Third one is the technological pedagogical knowledge or the TPK. It is an understanding on how to manage the use of technology in teaching process. For instance, it refers to the use of appropriate technological collaborative tools for sharing learning or to share learning with each other. And then the last one, the technological pedagogical content knowledge or the TPAC. Content content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge. The intersection, the intersection of all three knowledge domains is the core of the TPAC model. The center area that was being highlighted in the no, in the illustration in the presentation or in the PowerPoint presentation, it focuses on the understanding on how these particular tools can enhance your teaching and support student learning more deeply and appropriately.
So how did the concept came about? The TPAC framework was first introduced by Punya Mishra and Matthew J. Koaller in 2006, and they based their initial idea from Lee Schulman's work in 1986, which first introduced the idea of the pedagogical content knowledge, or the PCK. So with this idea, or with the PCK idea, they incorporated technology into it, which then created TPAC. So why is the TPAC framework important? Well, the TPAC framework is already an essential part of the educational system of today, as it incorporates the growing demand on the usage of technology in the classroom. And aside from that, TPAC also sets up education for the future, as well as students for the future. Now, TPAC also has many broad benefits, and I will be mentioning just some of these benefits. And one, TPAC shows the relationship between technology, content, and pedagogy. Second, TPAC also enhances the teacher's ability to use technology in the teaching learning process. And third, TPAC also paves the way for teachers to engage the students in collaborative learning, and it also helps them develop the concept of digital pedagogies. How is TPAC utilized in education? TPAC provides a map of understanding of how to integrate technology into the classroom effectively. So the point of TPAC is to understand how to use technology to teach concepts in a way that enhances the student's learning experience. So teachers should integrate or use TPAC in creating or developing their lesson plans so that they may develop or they may create the best learning experience for their students. So this is a step-by-step process on how teachers can apply TPAC in the classroom. So the first step is the teachers should determine the learning outcomes of the lesson. So the learning outcomes, this is considered as the content. And the second step, the teachers should choose an appropriate activity type. So this activity type is considered as the pedagogy, or how the students are going to learn the content. And the third step is the teachers will be choosing technologies which support or aid the student or the activity type that he or she has chosen. So this technology will aid the students learning on how they will learn the content, as well as how the teacher will teach the content. These are the objectives or the learning outcomes of our lesson plan. At the end of the lesson, the students are expected to 1. Identify the different stages involved in the water cycle process through performing an experiment. 2. differentiate every stage in the water cycle. 3. Explain how the water cycle works using their own words. 4th, reflect on how every stage in the water cycle affects human lives. 5th, create their own simple diagram on how the water cycle process works.
So, subject matter. It is the explanation of the whole activity about the lesson that we are going to tackle. So, our topic is about the water cycle. We have provided here the reference and also provide them the materials needed during the activity later. So, for experiment materials, we have large transparent bottle, small glass, thin plastic wrap such as saran wrap, cup of hot water, cup of ice cubes, shavings, safety goggles, and lab gowns. And during also the class discussion, a teacher must also have projector screen, laptop, speaker, mobile phones, and tablets so that the students will be guided on how they perform the experiment later. And for technological or online tools, we also have Edmodo, Google Forms, wheelofnames.com, ixlscience.com, so that the students will be guided where they want to submit their activity or where they can see their upcoming activities through the sites.
Hi, I am Zelaina Justine N. Palumpa, Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, second year. Basically, I am going to explain my parts, which are number one, motivational part, and the other one, the unlocking of difficulties part. So now, what I am going to show you is how this two works in the lesson planning with, of course, the use of TPAC. Earlier, Marchand Ho and Alexandra Maputi mentioned TPAC in their individual reports. Now that it's my turn for you to understand more deeply, let me start this way. First, what is motivation in lesson planning? And the other one, what is unfolding of difficulties in lesson planning? Let's find out. Motivation is defined as one of the trickiest things for teachers to come up with. As future teachers, we want something that will grab our pupils' attention and get them to think innovatively. The motivation could be actually anything. Yes, definitely. It could be a leading question which shows why they could care about the question in our aim. It could also be a demonstration. For example, in my motivation part, I have stated there that number 1, show to the students a short video clip about raining. And number 2, after watching, I shall ask a few questions to the students about the video clip that was presented. For example, what comes to your mind when you hear the word rain? Another one, where does the rain comes from? Also, how does rain form? These are all the questions that I should raise in making a motivation. Last one, let them give answers, reactions, comments on it. That's it. That's all for the motivational part. Now, let's go to letter B, the unlocking of difficulties. Unlocking of difficulties means to determine the meaning of unfamiliar words. As promising future teachers, we should use appropriate strategies in unlocking the meaning of these familiar words. We need to show appreciation of the lesson by engaging themselves in the activities. In this part, I will let my pupil access a link. Of course, the link will be posted in the Edmodo account. With the link provided, these students will fill up the missing labels with the given words: precipitation, evaporation, condensation, and surface runoff. After it, I will then discuss the answers and introduce the lesson after in relation to the activity.
Presentation. The teacher will prepare an experiment about the different stages involved in the water cycle process entitled Water Cycle in a Bottle Science Experiment. Before doing the said experiment, the teacher will explain first to the students the instructions and the necessary measures that should be followed in doing an experiment. Instructions and procedures of it are all being uploaded in the Edmodo. They can easily access it. Teacher provides questions about the experiment through an online activity observation sheet through the use of Google Forms. The link of the file will be posted in Edmodo. There should only be one observation sheet in every group. Every group should fill out or answer the said observation sheet online. During the experiment, students should take pictures or record videos. There are some questions in the activity sheet that need pictures or videos to be attached with. After the students answer all the questions in the activity sheet provided, reporting will be done. 2 members in every group will be assigned for the reporting. Students' answer will be automatically flashed on the projector screen. This will serve as a guide for the students in explaining their answers. The teacher has access to their answers in Google Forms. Discussion. After answering the questions provided in Google Forms, a representative in each group will present in front and explain the experiment. After reporting, the teacher will explain the concept of the water cycle concerning the students' respective observations. After reporting, the teacher will explain the stages of the water cycle process, namely evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, and will show a short video clip about the water cycle. The teacher will base the students' grades according to how accurately the ideas, observations, and answers are being elaborated.
Generalization. So after the discussion, the teacher will pick 3 random students from the class using the wheelofnames.com for them to explain the 3 major
major stages of the water cycle process in their own words and understanding. The teacher will give feedback in every explanation given by the students and further elaborate the information given. Application. After the generalization, the teacher will ask the class on why the water cycle is important to our everyday lives and what could possibly happen if the water cycle would be gone. Then, the teacher will pick three to five students and let them share their ideas and opinions regarding the given question to the class.
So in evaluation and assessment, it is where the students given a task if they understand the lesson about the water cycle. This is an individual activity that they are going to do. Draw or create a simple diagram about the water cycle based on what you have understood the lesson and explain it by recording yourself in a video a minimum of 1 minute and 20 seconds and a maximum of 2 minutes. The diagram or the model should explain the water cycle, the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, and must also include the steps during the cycle. After the finished recording, they will send it to the email provided and include also a picture of the diagram that they have created. And as you can see, we also provide them the content below so that they will be guided and follow the instructions of creating their own diagram. We have the labeling of main parts, uniqueness and effort, grammar, and neatness. So as you can see below, we also provided a rubrics so that the students um, to be more creative on their output, and it is also important that creating a rubric is included when you give your students an activity like this.
So after discussing about what is water cycle to the class and after giving them activities which they participated well, we will now proceed to assignments to know if they really do understand the topic. So for the assignment, let the students browse the net and search about the different human activities that can affect water cycle. In tabular form, let them give at least 3 examples and provide some pictures and let them explain how it can affect the water cycle. Always remind your students that plagiarism is prohibited and always tell them to not forget to cite their sources. Tell them to place it in Microsoft Word and send it to the teacher's email. Use Times New Roman as font style and size 11 for the font size.